When a man is tired of London, he is tired of life. This is a famous quote from one of the period authors, Samuel Johnson. So what's going on in London during the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, Neoclassicism, the Restoration? After the Great Fire of 1666, the population explodes. Look at that. 400,000 to 800,000 becomes the center of commercial life, which means that if you're in business, you're in London. And this is also when the consumer society is born. And what is the consumer society? That's when you buy things not out of need, but want. That's right. If you remember the previous lecture when we were talking about all of the growth in the middle class, the Industrial Revolution, everybody moving from the country to the city for jobs, right? All this is going on. People have extra money in their pockets after they pay the bills. So they go out and buy things. At this time, London begins to rival the other great cities such as Prague or Paris or Amsterdam of the European continent. That middle class, like we've been talking about, continues to grow and grow, not only in population but in power. So what happens in London is at the end of your workday, you would go home, have a few pints, have lunch, dinner. Then you would go walking the streets. You might go walk and view gardens, visit art galleries. Then there's music halls open on the weekends that you could go hear a symphony or an opera. The theater has been reopened after it was closed by the Puritans. You can go see a play. There's all this stuff to do. And London becomes a city that never sleeps thanks to oil-burning street lamps. Yeah. So, like today we have street lights that come on when it's evening and light our nighttime streets. London had oil-burning lamps that did the same thing. And in case you're curious, the oil came from whales. This is the time when whales were hunted for their oil, like if you're familiar with Moby Dick. That's when the time frame is this, right? All this stuff is going on in the great metropolis of London. So if you remember in the previous lecture, one of the things we touched upon was technology and science and technology. There's so much going on in the Enlightenment with science and technology. It's just hard to squeeze it down to one slide. There are advancements in astronomy thanks to improved telescopes, more proof of the heliocentric model, the discovery of Uranus. This is when, sitting underneath the apple tree, right, Newton, the laws of gravity, oxygen, which of course everybody had known there was oxygen, but they didn't know what we were breathing. That's discovered. There's the microscope is invented. So cool. What's so cool about the microscope, Mr. K? Well, a telescope let people look at worlds far away. With the microscope, that's when people are able to look into a drop of water. And guess what they saw in the drop of water? Things swimming around, and it was like, gross, what are we drinking? What's going on with this water? So the different worlds multiplied thanks to the microscope. There are also improvements to the steam engine, improvements to the printing press. So more books are being published. Here's a cool fact that'll help you out when you're watching Jeopardy! The first dictionary and encyclopedia were published during the Enlightenment. So if you're wondering, so does that mean before the publication of the dictionary there was no such thing as a misspelled word? And you're correct. I know, dang it. So now there's misspelled words. Oh, So we got all these books coming out, and if there's more supply, right, that's going to drive down the price. So more people are able to buy books. More people are able to read. People have a reason to read. So literacy becomes a business. Literacy Inc. Look at that. Wow. So this is a really exciting time in history, because what the Enlightenment is really all about is rational thinking, and more people are thinking rationally. So we're starting to get an upward spiral of things. Now, rigidity. This is one of the conventions of the Enlightenment. Much of Enlightenment literature was being written by the cultural elite, which was a very small group of people. And these authors were pretty much exclusively writing to their peers, in other words, the elite. So there were certain rules that you had to follow. And that's what we mean by conventions. There were rules, such as the heroic couplet, which we'll take a look at an example of. Satire, making fun of things, became really popular, as well as belles lettres, which is a French term for beautiful letters. And this is really light, witty literature, not really meant to be taken seriously. It's just meant to entertain those people who are at the top of the social pyramid. Now, a lot of scholars today wonder, how did these rigid conventions come about? And what we think of is that they came about because there was so much change going on during this time that by having rules to follow, it was an effort to control and have stability. And that's, why scholars today think that these conventions came about. So in other words, if you wanted to write literature, if you wanted to be a published author during the Enlightenment, you have to follow the rules in addition to being the cultural elite. I know. And we'll continue talking about the Enlightenment in the next lecture.